The Great Hall of Terminus Prime was the largest structure ever built by any species in the known galaxy. Its walls stretched so high that clouds formed near the ceiling. 12 massive chairs circled the central platform, each one designed for a different alien body. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Council had met here to decide the fate of worlds. Today, they would decide the fate of Earth. Ambassador Park Ji-yeon walked through the outer corridor with her security team close behind. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and silver hair tied back in a simple knot. 40 years ago, humanity had joined the Council as a provisional member. In all that time, no human had ever been denied entry to a Council session. Until today. 2 massive guards blocked the entrance. They were Vorath species, standing 3 meters tall with gray skin like stone. Their 4 arms held energy weapons pointed at the floor, but ready to rise at any moment. "Ambassador Park," one of them said in a deep voice, "the Council is in closed session. No humans are permitted." Ji-yeon kept her face calm, but her heart was beating fast. "I am Earth's official representative. I have the right to attend all sessions under the founding charter. The charter has been suspended for this meeting. Please leave." Behind Ji-yeon, Captain Yoon Do-yeon placed his hand on his weapon. He was tall for a Korean man, with a face that rarely showed emotion. He had commanded Earth's diplomatic security fleet for 15 years. He had never drawn his weapon in anger. But something about today felt wrong. "Captain," Ji-yeon said quietly, "stand down." Do-yeon removed his hand from his weapon, but his eyes never left the guards. "I want to speak with Council Leader Vorath," Ji-yeon demanded. "Now." "The Council Leader is busy. Please leave, or we will remove you." Ji-yeon stood her ground for a long moment. Then she turned and walked away. Her team followed. When they were far enough from the guards, she spoke in a low voice. "Something is very wrong. In 40 years, they have never closed a session to us, not once." Lieutenant Kang Tae-woo, the youngest member of her security team, stepped closer. "Should we contact Earth Command?" "Not yet. We need to know what they are discussing first." She looked at Captain Do-yeon. "Can your people find out?" Do-yeon nodded slowly. "I have a contact inside, someone who owes me a favor. But it will take time." "We may not have time," Ji-yeon said. Inside the Great Hall, the 12 council leaders sat in their massive chairs. The holographic screens around them showed data about Earth, population numbers, military strength, colony locations, and expansion rates over the past 4 decades. Council leader Vorath stood at the center. He was ancient, even by his species' long standards. His gray skin had darkened to almost black with age. His 4 arms moved slowly as he spoke. "The evidence is clear," he said. "When humans joined us, they had 1 world. Now they have 47 colonies. Their population has grown from 8 billion to 32 billion. Their military has expanded faster than any species in recorded history." An insect-like council member clicked her mandibles. "They are spreading like a disease." "They are unpredictable," another said. "They fight among themselves, yet unite against outside threats. They adapt too quickly. They breed too fast." Vorath raised one of his hands for silence. "I have studied humans for 4 decades. They are not like us. They do not know peace. Even when they smile, they are planning. Even when they cooperate, they are competing. If we wait another 40 years, they will have 200 worlds. In a century, they will have 1,000. "What do you propose?" asked a council member who looked like a floating cloud of gas. Vorath's old eyes showed no emotion. "Extermination Protocol 7. A complete strike against their homeworld and all colonies, simultaneously, before they can respond." Silence filled the hall. Protocol 7 had only been used twice in galactic history. Both times, the target species had been erased completely. "Is this necessary? one council member asked. They have broken no laws. They do not need to break laws, Vorath replied. Their existence is the threat. Their potential is the danger. We are not punishing them for what they have done. We are preventing what they will do. The vote was called. One by one, each council leader pressed their approval. 12 votes, 12 approvals. Unanimous. The motion passes, Vorath announced. The strike fleet will launch in 72 hours. All records of this session will be deleted from galactic archives. As far as history knows, this meeting never happened. Outside the hall, Captain Do Yun's communicator buzzed. He looked at the screen and his face went pale. The message was short, sent from a blocked source inside the chamber. They're voting on Earth. Extermination Protocol 7. He showed the message to Ambassador Park Ji-yeon. She read it twice. Her hands did not shake. Her voice did not crack. She had trained her whole life to stay calm in moments of crisis, but inside, something cold and hard formed in her chest. Can we warn Earth in time? Tae-woo asked. We can try, Do-hyun said. But if they have 72 hours and we are here at the edge of Council space, our fastest ship will take 60 hours to reach Earth. That leaves almost no time to prepare. Ji-yeon stared at the sealed doors of the Great Hall. Behind those doors, 12 species had just voted to murder 32 billion humans. They had done it in secret. They had erased the evidence. They thought no one would ever know. She turned to her team. Her voice was quiet but steady. They have no idea what they have just done. 3 days before the end of the world, Sergeant Han Ji-soo sat alone in a dark room filled with screens. She was a communications specialist at Seoul Unified Command Center, the heart of Earth's military operations. Her job was to listen to space, to catch signals from distant colonies and passing ships. Most days, she heard nothing interesting. Today was different. Her screens showed strange patterns at the edge of the solar system. Hyperspace signatures, dozens of them, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. She reported it to her supervisor. Sensor ghosts, he said without looking up. Solar radiation interference. Log it and move on. Jisoo frowned. She had been doing this job for 8 years. She knew what solar interference looked like. This was not that. But she was a sergeant, and he was a colonel. She logged the anomaly and moved on. 3 floors above her, Admiral Baek Soon-hee stood at the window of her office watching the sun set over Seoul. She was 62 years old, with gray hair cut short like a soldier and eyes that had seen too much death. She had fought in the colony wars 20 years ago when human settlers had rebelled against Earth's government. She had won that war. She still carried the guilt of it. Her assistant entered. Admiral, we have lost contact with Terminus Prime. Soon-hee turned. How long? 72 hours now. All diplomatic channels are silent. No response to any messages. 72 hours. The Council had never gone silent for that long. Not once in 40 years of human membership. Find out why, she ordered. Use every channel we have. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, in a bunker that appeared on no official maps, Dr. Cho Yoon-ji was working late. She was a thin woman with messy hair and tired eyes, surrounded by screens showing weapons systems that did not officially exist. Project Sentinel was her life's work. For 20 years, she had built it in secret, using funds hidden in other budgets, using workers who had signed agreements to never speak of what they had done. Sentinel was simple in concept, a network of weapons platforms hidden throughout the solar system. On the moon, buried under the dust. On Mars, disguised as mining equipment. In the asteroid belt, floating among the rocks. On Europa, frozen beneath the ice. Thousands of platforms, all waiting, all silent. Yoon-ji had built Sentinel because she understood something that most humans did not want to believe. The Council had never trusted humanity. They smiled at human ambassadors and made treaties with human leaders. But behind closed doors, they saw humans as a threat. Yunji had read the classified intelligence reports. She had seen how other young species had been treated when they grew too fast. 2 had been completely destroyed. 3 others had been reduced to single planets, their colonies burned. Humanity would be next. She had always known it. She had just hoped she was wrong. Her communicator buzzed. She looked at the screen and saw Admiral Bayek Sunhee's face. "Doctor, come to my office. Now, use the secure elevator." 20 minutes later, Yunji stood in the Admiral's office with the door locked behind her. Captain Yoon Do-hyun was there, looking exhausted after 60 hours of faster-than-light travel. Ambassador Park Ji-yeon sat in a chair, her face like stone. A fragmented recording played on a small screen. Extermination Protocol 7, complete strike against their homeworld, all colonies, simultaneously. The recording cut out. Static filled the screen. "How much of this is real?" Admiral Sunhee asked. "All of it," Captain Do-hyun said. "My source died getting this to us. The Council fleet is already on its way. Over 3,000 warships from 8 species. They will arrive in less than 12 hours. Silence filled the room. Yunji felt her heart stop for a moment. 12 hours. 3,000 warships. Against Earth's fleet of 400 ships. "We have to warn the people," she said. "Start evacuations to the underground shelters." "No," Admiral Sunhee said. Everyone stared at her. "If we announce this, there will be panic. Billions of people will flood the streets, blocking roads, fighting for space in shelters. The evacuation will fail. More people will die in the chaos than in the bunkers." "So what do we do?" Ambassador Ji-yeon asked. Sunhee walked to her window. The city below was peaceful. Lights were coming on in buildings. Families were eating dinner. Children were doing homework. None of them knew that in 12 hours their world would burn. "We tell the military it is a training exercise. Full mobilization. Every ship in the air, every soldier at their station. We move as many civilians to shelters as we can without causing panic. We tell them it is a drill." "And Sentinel?" Yunji asked. Sunhee turned to face her. "When the Council fleet arrives, you will wake them up, all of them, every platform, everything you have built." Yunji nodded slowly. "It will not be enough to win, but it will hurt them. It will buy time." "Time for what?" Captain Do-hyun asked. Admiral Sunhee's eyes were hard. "Time for whoever survives to remember, and to make sure this never happens again." Sergeant Han Ji-soo was still at her station when the order came through. Full mobilization, training exercise. She looked at her screens again, at those strange hyperspace signatures that no one believed were real. They were not ghosts. They were ships, thousands of ships. She understood now, but it was too late to warn anyone. At the edge of the solar system, near Mars, the first Council warships emerged from hyperspace. Their weapons were already charging. Their orders were clear: leave nothing alive. Earth had 12 hours left. The sky turned red at 7 in the morning. Pilot O'Meara was already in her cockpit, waiting for orders that she thought would never come. She was the leader of Ghost Squadron, 12 fighters stationed at the Seoul Air Defense Base. They had been told it was a drill, but when the first explosions lit up the horizon, she knew the truth. "All pilots, this is command. This is not a drill. Enemy fleet has entered Earth orbit. Defend population centers. Buy time for civilian evacuation. Good luck." Mireille launched her fighter into the burning sky. Below her, Seoul was waking up to the end of the world. People ran through the streets. Cars crashed into each other. Mothers grabbed their children and ran for shelter doors that were already closing. Above her, the Council fleet blocked out the sun. 3,000 warships, each one larger than any human ship ever built. They hung in the sky like metal mountains, their weapons glowing with terrible light. The first bombardment hit Tokyo. The entire city disappeared in a flash of white light. 15 million people died in 3 seconds. Then New York, then Lagos, then Mumbai. One by one, the great cities of Earth were erased from existence. Mirai and her squadron flew toward the nearest enemy ship. They were like insects attacking an elephant. Their weapons did almost nothing against the massive alien shields, but they kept fighting. What else could they do? Ghost 7, this is Ghost 2. I am hit. I am going down. Ghost 4 is gone. Ghost 8 is gone. Keep fighting, Mirai ordered through her tears. Every second we fight is another second for people to reach the shelters. On the ground, in the ruins of Busan, Private Yoon Ha-jun crawled through smoking rubble. He was 23 years old, a soldier for only 2 years. He had joined the military because his older brother Do-hyun had inspired him. Now he was covered in dust and blood, dragging himself toward the sound of crying children. He found them hiding under a collapsed building. 5 children, the oldest maybe 10 years old. Their parents were gone. Everything was gone. "Come with me," Ha-jun said, trying to keep his voice calm. "I know a safe place. We have to move fast." He led them through streets filled with fire and falling debris. Alien fighters screamed overhead, shooting at anything that moved. Ha-jun carried the smallest child on his back while the others held onto his uniform. "Are we going to die?" one of the children asked. "No," Ha-jun lied. "I will protect you. I promise." In space, Captain Yoon Do-hyun commanded the ESS Resolve, one of the largest ships in Earth's fleet. Around him, human ships were dying by the dozens. The Council fleet was too powerful. Their shields were too strong. Their weapons were too deadly. But Do-hyun had a plan, a crazy, suicidal plan. "Set course for the enemy flagship," he ordered. "Maximum speed." His crew looked at him with shock. The flagship was Council Leader Vorath's personal vessel, protected by hundreds of escort ships. "Sir, we will never survive that approach," his first officer said. "I know. But if we can destroy their communication array, their fleet will lose coordination." It might give Earth a chance. The Resolve accelerated toward certain death. Enemy fire tore through its shields, ripped through its hull. Crew members died at their stations. Fires broke out on every deck, but the ship kept moving. Do-hyun sat in his command chair, blood running down his face from a wound on his forehead. He thought about his brother Ha-jun, probably fighting somewhere on Earth right now. He thought about all the times they had played together as children, all the arguments they had as adults, all the things he wished he had said. He opened a communication channel. "Ha-jun, if you can hear this, I am sorry I was not a better brother. Survive. Remember what they did. Make them pay." The Resolve crashed into Vorath's flagship at full speed. The explosion was visible from Earth. It destroyed the flagship's communication array and killed 300 enemy crew members. Captain Yoon Do-hyun died instantly. In his bunker on the moon, Admiral Baek Sun-hee watched the destruction through holographic screens. Tears ran down her old face, but her voice was steady when she spoke. "How many have we lost?" 70% of our fleet is gone. Casualty estimates on Earth are already in the billions. We cannot win this fight, Admiral. Sun-hee closed her eyes. She had known this moment would come. She had hoped it would not be in her lifetime, but it was here now, and she had one card left to play. She opened a channel to Dr. Cho Yoonji's bunker beneath the Earth. "Doctor, wake them up. Wake them all up." Deep underground, Yoonji's hands shook as she entered the activation codes. 20 years of secret work. Thousands of hidden weapons platforms. This was the moment they were built for. "Sentinel network activating," the computer announced. "All platforms online." Across the solar system, weapons platforms came to life. On the moon, hidden cannons rose from the dust. On Mars, disguised structures revealed their true nature. In the asteroid belt, hundreds of autonomous fighters launched from hidden bases. Under Europa's ice, missiles burst through the frozen surface. The Sentinel network opened fire. Council ships began to explode. Not many at first, but then more and more. The aliens had not expected this. Their intelligence had said Earth had 400 ships. They had not known about the thousands of hidden platforms. Vorath watched from his damaged flagship as 1,800 of his ships were destroyed in the first hour of Sentinel's attack. It was not enough to stop his fleet, but it was enough to slow them down. On Earth, Hajun finally reached a bunker door with his 5 children. The door was closing. He threw the children inside one by one, then dove through just as it sealed shut. Behind him, the city of Busan was burning. Above him, the sky was full of death, but he was alive. The children were alive. He sat against the bunker wall, exhausted and broken, and played his brother's message one more time. Survive. Remember what they did. Make them pay. Hajun closed his eyes and made a promise to the dead. 5 years passed in darkness. The surface of Earth was covered in ash and radiation. The Council had declared humanity extinct. They had celebrated their victory with feasts and speeches. They had erased all records of the genocide. As far as the galaxy knew, humans had never existed at all. But deep beneath the ruined surface, in tunnels that stretched for hundreds of kilometers, humanity survived. General Park Ji-yeon stood in the command center of underground Seoul, looking at maps of the planet she once knew. She was no longer an ambassador. There was no one left to negotiate with. Now, she was the leader of the United Resistance Council, a government formed from the survivors of 47 nations. "Report," she said. Her aide pulled up holographic screens. "Current population estimate, 400 million survivors across all underground cities and hidden colonies. Industrial capacity has reached 60% of pre-war levels. The new fleet construction is ahead of schedule. 400 million. Before the attack, Earth had held 20 billion people. Ji-yeon remembered every one of them. She carried their memory like a weight on her shoulders. Commander Yoon Ha-jun entered the room. He was 28 now, no longer the frightened young private who had saved 5 children in Busan. His face was hard, his eyes cold. He had spent 5 years fighting, training, and waiting for this moment. "The fleet is ready," he said. 500 Vengeance-class carriers, 2,000 fighter squadrons, 50,000 ground troops. Ji-yeon nodded. "And the intelligence?" "Confirmed. The Council believes we are extinct. Their military has returned to peacetime operations. Their worlds are undefended. They are not expecting us." In a workshop deep beneath the ice of Europa, engineer Shin Bo-young ran her hand along the hull of the newest Vengeance-class carrier. She had designed these ships herself, using technology recovered from destroyed Council vessels. They were faster than anything the Council had. Their weapons were stronger. Their shields were better. Bo-young was 35 years old. Before the war, she had been a promising young engineer at a civilian shipyard. She had designed passenger vessels and cargo ships. Now she designed weapons of war. The change had not been easy, but she had found a purpose in it. "How do they look?" Commander Ha-jun asked, walking up behind her. "Beautiful," Bo-young said, "and deadly. Each one can carry 500 fighters and enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The Council has nothing that can match them." Ha-jun stared at the ship for a long moment. "My brother died fighting the Council fleet. He took out their flagship's communications with his bare ship. He was the bravest man I ever knew." "I remember him," Bo-young said quietly. "Everyone does. These ships are his legacy. All of our work is his legacy." Back in underground Seoul, General Ji-yeon gathered her commanders for the final briefing. Pilot Oh Mirai was there, now the most famous ace in human history. She had survived the first battle, shot down 30 enemy fighters, and spent 5 years training the next generation of pilots. Her call sign had become legend, Ghost 7. Operation Long Memory, Ji-yeon announced. We will strike all 12 Council homeworlds simultaneously. Our targets are military installations, command centers, and communication networks. We are not going to kill civilians. We are not going to become what they are. Some will call that weakness, one commander said. Let them. We are going to prove that humanity is better than the Council. We survived their genocide. We rebuilt from nothing. And when we have the power to destroy them completely, we will choose justice instead of revenge. Commander Ha-jun stepped forward. I volunteer to lead the assault on Terminus Prime. That is where they voted to destroy us. That is where they erase the records. I want to be the one who makes them remember. Ji-yeon looked at him for a long moment. She saw Do-yeon in his eyes, the same determination, the same fire. The mission is yours, Commander. Take Terminus Prime. Find the deleted records. Show the galaxy what the Council really did. Mireille stood up. Ghost Squadron will provide air support. If anything flies near that station, I will shoot it down personally. The briefing ended. The commanders returned to their ships. Across the underground cities, soldiers said goodbye to their families. Some wrote letters that might never be delivered. Some prayed to gods they were not sure existed. All of them knew that they might not survive what was coming. In the shipyard beneath Europa's ice, 500 Vengeance-class carriers powered up their engines. 2,000 fighter squadrons loaded into their launch bays. 50,000 soldiers checked their weapons one final time. General Ji-yeon stood on the bridge of the flagship, the ESS Do-yeon, named for the captain who had given his life to buy humanity time. She looked at the crew around her, young men and women who had grown up in darkness, who had trained their whole lives for this moment. For 5 years we have hidden. We have rebuilt. We have prepared. Today, we stop hiding. Today, the galaxy learns that humanity does not die easily. Today, we remind the Council that they made a terrible mistake. She gave the order. Launch the fleet. Across the solar system, ships rose from their hiding places. From Europa's ice, from Mars's red soil, from the moon's gray dust, from asteroids and comets and places no one had ever thought to look. 500 warships, humanity's fury made metal and fire. They entered hyperspace, heading for 12 different destinations. 12 Council homeworlds, 12 targets, one coordinated strike. The Council had erased the minutes of their crime. They had deleted the evidence of genocide. They thought no one would ever know what they had done. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The attack came from everywhere at once. On 12 worlds, in 12 star systems, human warships appeared from hyperspace without warning. Council commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. The humans were supposed to be dead. The humans were supposed to be extinct. This was impossible, but the missiles falling on their military bases were very real. Commander Yoon Ha-jun led the assault on Terminus Prime himself. His ship, the ESS Ghost, dropped out of hyperspace directly above the great station where the Council had voted to destroy Earth. Behind him came 50 Vengeance-class carriers and 1,000 fighters. All squadrons, begin attack runs on defensive platforms, he ordered. Ground teams, prepare for deployment. Our target is the Council chamber. We are here for the records. Pilot Mireille led Ghost Squadron through the chaos of battle. Council fighters scrambled to defend the station, but they were too slow, too surprised. Mireille had waited 5 years for this moment. She had trained every day. She had memorized every weakness in Council ship designs. Now she used that knowledge to tear them apart. Ghost 2, on your left. Ghost 7, I see them. Breaking right. She spun her fighter through a cloud of enemy ships, firing in all directions. 3 Council fighters exploded around her, then 4 more, then 5. Her kill count climbed past 200. She had become death itself. and she was just getting started. On the surface of Terminus Prime, Hajun led his ground forces through the corridors of the great station. Council guards tried to stop them, but human soldiers had trained for this moment for 5 years. They knew every corner, every doorway, every weakness. The guards fell one by one. "Commander, we have reached the council chamber," his lieutenant reported. Hajun stood before the massive doors that had been sealed against Ambassador Park Ji-yeon 5 years ago. He remembered his brother's message. "Survive. Remember. Make them pay." "Open it," he ordered. The doors exploded inward. Human soldiers poured into the great hall. The 12 council chairs were empty now, their leaders hiding in bunkers across the galaxy. But the chamber itself remained, along with its computers and its archives. "Find the deleted records," Hajun commanded. "Find everything." Engineers worked frantically at alien consoles. They had prepared for this, studying captured council technology, learning their systems. Within minutes, they found what they were looking for. "Commander, we have it. The deleted session from 5 years ago. The vote for Extermination Protocol 7. All of it." Hajun smiled for the first time in 5 years. "Send it to General Ji-yeon. Now." Aboard the ESS Do-hyun, General Park Ji-yeon received the transmission. She watched the recording once, twice, 3 times. The council leaders discussing humanity like they were insects to be crushed, the unanimous vote for genocide, the laughter as they erased the evidence. "Open a channel," she said. "All galactic frequencies. Every species, every world, every station. I want everyone to hear this." Her communications officer worked quickly. Within seconds, the transmission was broadcasting across the entire galaxy. "This is General Park Ji-yeon of the United Human Resistance. 5 years ago, the Galactic Council voted in secret to destroy my species. They killed 20 billion people. They burned our world. They erased all records of their crime. They told the galaxy that humans were extinct. They were wrong." She played the recording. Across thousands of worlds, billions of aliens watched Council Leader Vorath propose the genocide of humanity. They heard the other leaders agree. They heard the laughter. They heard the order to delete all evidence. The Council thought no one would ever know what they did. But we survived. We remembered. And now, everyone knows. The reaction was immediate. On smaller worlds, species that had been oppressed by the Council for millennia began to rise up. On neutral stations, traders and diplomats watched in horror as the truth was revealed. The Council's power had always rested on the belief that they were fair, that they were just, that they protected the weak. That belief died in seconds. On Vorath's homeworld, human soldiers found the ancient council leader hiding in an underground bunker. They did not kill him. They dragged him out, put him in chains, and brought him before General Ji-yeon. Vorath looked at the human woman with hatred in his 4 eyes. "You should have stayed dead." Ji-yeon shook her head. "You should have made sure we were actually dead. Instead, you just made us angry. What are you going to do? Kill me? Destroy my world like I destroyed yours?" "No. That is the difference between us. I am not going to kill your civilians. I am not going to burn your cities. I am going to do something worse. I am going to let you live. I am going to make you watch as the galaxy judges you for your crimes. I am going to make you see your legacy destroyed, your power stripped away, your name remembered forever as a monster." Vorath was taken to stand trial before a new galactic tribunal, made up of the smaller species that the Council had oppressed for centuries. The trial lasted 3 months. The verdict was unanimous: guilty. All 12 Council leaders were found guilty of genocide and crimes against sentience. They were not executed. They were imprisoned on a dead moon at the edge of the galaxy, forced to live out their long lives, knowing that everyone knew what they had done. 1 year after the attack, Commander Yoon Ha-jun stood before a memorial on the rebuilt surface of Earth. It was a simple stone wall. stretching for kilometers, carved with the names of 20 billion dead. His brother's name was near the top, Yoon Do-hyun, Captain, Hero. "We remembered," Hajun said quietly. "We made them pay, but not with more death. We made them pay with truth. We made them pay with justice. That is what makes us different from them." General Jian joined him at the memorial. She was older now, tired from years of war and rebuilding, but her eyes still held the same fire they had held when she stood outside the sealed council doors. "What happens now?" Hajun asked. "Now we build something better, a new galactic union, where no species can vote in secret to destroy another, where the records are never deleted, where everyone has a voice. Do you think it will last?" Jion looked up at the blue sky, finally clear of ash after 5 years. "I do not know, but we have to try. That is what humans do. We survive, we rebuild, we hope." 100 years later, humanity led a reformed galactic union. The old council was a memory, a warning taught in schools across 1,000 worlds. On every human colony, children learned the story of the genocide, the survival, and the justice that followed. And they learned the lesson that the council had failed to understand. Humans have long memories. They never forget, and they never give up. The council wiped the minutes because they thought no one would ever know. But the minutes were restored. The truth was told. And humanity proved that they were worthy of the stars.